All right. Good evening. The meeting of the Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority Board of Directors is now called to order at, what time are we at? 6:02. Shall we do a roll call, please?
Director Kenneth,
Here.
Director Blocker,
Here.
Director Chapman,
Here.
Director Annable, here, Director Alexander.
Here, and I need the microphone.
Oh.
Here.
Director Potter,
Here.
Director Gill.
Yeah.
All right, we're all here. Okay, thank you. This point, I believe we do not have closed session. I just want to confirm.
That's right, Madam Chair. The item, there's nothing new to report on this item, so we're recommending that you take closed session off the agenda tonight.
Thank you.
Need any more time?
No, we don't need a motion for close for this.
I don't think so, unless you want to, Madam Chair.
I think we're fine. Okay, so at this point, any members of the public have an opportunity to address the board on any item not on the agenda. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak before the board? There are none. Okay. And moving right along, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Moved. Second.
Any questions? Any public comment on the minutes? Okay, let's have a roll call.
Director Potter motion and Director Gill seconded.
Yes.
Director Kenneth,
Yes.
Director Blocker,
Yes.
Director Chapman,
Yes.
Director Annable,
Yes.
Director Alexander,
Yes.
Director Potter,
Yes.
Director Gill.
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes. Okay, moving on to consent calendar. The consent calendar contains routine items of business. Items in this section will be acted upon in one motion unless removed by a board member. Any member of the public may speak to an item on the consent calendar at this time or request the chair to remove an item from the consent calendar for discussion. Public speakers are limited to 3 minutes.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any public comment? No? Okay, let's have a roll call.
Director Kenneth,
Yes.
Director Blocker,
Yes.
Director Chapman,
Yes.
Director Annable,
Yes.
Director Alexander,
Yes.
Director Potter,
Yes.
Director Gill.
Yes.
All right, that motion passes unanimously. Oh my, we're moving right on. Okay, so we are on new business. So again, members of the public have the opportunity to comment on any matter on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. So the first item is the authorization, the appointment of a District 4 representative to the Citizens Advisory Committee. It's Carolyn Ayers. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Caroline Hernandez, Deputy Clerk of the Board, and tonight this item is regarding the appointment of Allison Falwell to the CAC for the District 4 position. The authority received Ms. Falwell's application on December 21st, 2022. And with the application was forwarded to Director Annable, who interviewed the candidate and determined her to be qualified for the District 4 representative seat on the CAC. So now staff recommend that the Board of Directors review the application of Ms. Falwell and appoint her to the Citizens Advisory Committee as the District 4 representative to fill the remainder of the term on June 30th, 2024.
Yes.
I would just like to add that Caroline was very wonderful in bringing the candidate to us. I think she had applied earlier for another one. And she's the one that reached out to her and asked her to reapply again. And also there was a second candidate that Caroline recruited for us. She's a very talented woman also. And so we're hoping that she will come into the organization shortly. Allison is back in Boston tonight, so she couldn't join us. Today we're going to meet her officially. Her has family illness problems. Very excited, and I did speak with volunteer organization representative that she's been involved with, and she reported that she's enthusiastic. She stands up to the job. She takes the initiative. She's very easy to work with. And so I think she'll make an excellent candidate. So they'll give support me. I'd like to make the motion.
I'll second that motion.
So we have a motion and a second to appoint Allison Falwell as the District 4 CAC representative. For the roll call.
Director Kenneth,
Yes.
Director Flaher,
Yes.
Director Chapman,
Yes.
Director Annabelle,
Yes.
Director Alexander,
Yes.
Director Potter,
Yes.
Director Gill.
Okay, that motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, Allison. The next item is the authorization of the appointment of an expenditure plan oversight committee member. Carolyn again.
Thank you, Chair. Similarly, on December 9th, we have already received an application from Rahma Torre via email for the expenditure plan oversight committee. Staff reviewed the application, the supplemental documentation, and determined that the candidate met the minimum qualifications. So as outlined by our criteria, we forwarded the application to a subcommittee of the expenditure plan oversight committee, who reviewed the candidate, interviewed her, and drafted a short report that you will find in your packet, and recommended her to the board for appointment for the expenditure plan oversight committee. So now staff also recommend that the board appoint Rahma Torre to the expenditure plan oversight committee to complete the remainder of a 4-year term that will end December 31st, 2025.
Okay, thank you, Carolyn. Are there any questions? The board have any questions? Do we have any public comment on this item? And Rob she's not in the audience now. Okay, all right. Now consider a motion.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to appoint Rahma Torre to the expenditure plan oversight committee. You ready to call roll?
Yes, Director Kenneth,
Yes.
Director Flaher,
Yes.
Director Chapman,
Yes.
Director Annabelle, Director Alexander,
Yes.
Director Potter.
Yes.
Director Gill.
Yes.
That motion passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, and now the highlight of the evening. This is the celebration and approval of a resolution honoring the retiring clerk of the board, Kelly Guerra.
Thank you, Madam
You're
Chair.
gonna present. Okay, thank you.
It's my honor this evening to read into the record a resolution of the governing board of the Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority honoring retiring clerk of the board, Kelly Guerra. Whereas Kelly Guerra will retire from the Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority after over 11 years of dedicated and passionate service, culminating in the role of clerk of the board, which she held for the last 8 years. And whereas Kelly was the first official clerk of the board for the authority and has professionally shaped how the public interfaces with the authority board of directors and committees. And whereas Kelly brought a strong background, experience, and passion for Santa Clara County, in Central Coast agriculture and agricultural conservation, having come from a farming family and having worked for the Resource Conservation District of San Benito County. And whereas Kelly directed and oversaw complex redistricting processes for the agency's board of directors twice in her 11 years. And whereas Kelly has continually executed her duties with great care, discretion, diplomacy, and good humor. And whereas Kelly brought the authority's governance into the 21st century through the transition to governance management systems, bringing efficiency to the clerk's office and making board decisions more accessible to the public. And whereas Kelly has mentored the deputy clerk of the board, generously imparting her expertise and priceless insights. And whereas Kelly developed staff training modules and standardized practices to help countless staff prepare and submit their agenda items to the board of directors and committees. And whereas Kelly introduced the authority to the game of 6 degrees of Kelly Guerra, as she knows or is somehow connected to virtually everyone in the South County and Hollister areas. And whereas Kelly's love of apple fritters from Bernal Donuts is exceeded only by her passion for good governance and commitment to the authority's mission and people, as a result, she has set the bar high for future generations of clerks of the board. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board honors Kelly's dedication to the mission, commitment to good governance, advocacy for transparency, and hard work over the last 11 years. Passed, approved, and adopted on the 26th of January, 2023. So Madam Chair, I'll turn it back over to you for any comments from the audience and from the board. Thank you.
Kelly, as I stated earlier, it's been an honor and a pleasure to know you and to begin my journey as a board member and to be onboarded, and you know, your service here is immeasurable. And as I said, I work for a crazy organization. You hold a very tight, steady hand over the employees here, and that is duly appreciated. So I'll open it up if any other of my colleagues would like to say a few words.
I'd like to move to approve, and remember, Kelly, you can run, but you can't.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Oh, we have a. Okay. All right.
And then through the chair, we do have a member of the public wishing to speak on this item.
Absolutely. So. Would you like to come forward to say a few words?
Oh, if somebody else would like to start.
It's an online purchase. It's an online purchase. Okay.
Okay, you should be good. Obviously, I have nothing prepared. But I think it's, hi, Denny.
Hello there.
This is her brother. I would just like to say thank you for giving me my best friend back. And that she can sit and drink sangrias with me instead of doing packets for you guys. But thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other one to our online participants like to say a few words?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, sis.
Hi, brother.
They sure had an awful lot of nice things to say. Are you sure they're not confusing you with someone else? Seriously, yeah, you deserve this, and I am so proud of you.
Thank you so much. Love you.
Proud of you, Kelly. Love you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I guess we couldn't see.
Okay,
say
so now we need to. Oh,
Sure.
We have another
No, one last thing.
one else like to speak.
I want to say thank you for this amazing farewell from my mom. I am so excited for her to retire and travel and enjoy just being her. And I'm excited to spend more time with her. and just have more family time. So thank you for inviting me. I love you, Mom, and thank you for instilling such an amazing work ethic in me. I know she gives her whole self to all of you, just like she does in her personal life with her family. So she's given me a great role model growing up. So thank you.
Okay, it's hard to follow that with a very boring. Okay, so I believe we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Who is the motion? Who made the motion and who's second?
I made a motion.
Director Kenneth and then
Oh.
Director Faher.
Thank you.
And what, if we vote against this, do we get to keep Kelly? Just kidding.
Yeah, so if
We
we
can
vote
try-
against, then she cannot be retired, okay? She will be stay more longer, right?
Sorry
You
to
don't?
say that. Don't have to say it. I submitted my paperwork.
Sorry, Ward.
Director Kenneth,
Okay, then I'll vote yes.
Director Flaher, Director Chapman,
Yes.
Director Annabelle,
Of course.
Director Alexander,
Yes.
Director Potter,
Absolutely.
Director Gill.
No choice, yes.
All right, so Kelly, with unanimous approval from the board, we approve your resolution and thank you again for your service.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
yes,
Madam Chair, there's one other part to this item if you wouldn't mind.
no,
Yeah, but wait, there's more.
there's more, okay.
So the resolution that was approved tonight will be signed and framed and made as a gift for Kelly. But to go with that, she gets to take a Derek Newman original also of Palazzo, which is a property very adjacent to Kelly's home hearts, some of her home fires. So we just want to make sure it's beautiful, but you are aware this is for you.
Thank you. It's gorgeous. Thank you, Derek. Good job.
Thank you.
How about with the family too?
Oh, yeah. Did we do that already? I just want to go here.
Yeah, Andrea.
Do you want to stand here? Sure. I
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is to review current open space authority committees for 2023 and appointment of board committee liaisons. And Kelly, is this your last item you're presenting for the board forever?
Probably. I'm gonna have some fun, Director Chapman. I'm gonna finally.
Good away.
Thank you, Director, good evening. Tonight we're going to review the current open space authority committees for 2023 and appoint board committee liaisons. And which is typical at the second board meeting of every year. And the board chair will assign board members to standing and ad hoc board committees, as well as a liaison to the CAC, Citizens Advisory Committee.
And I believe the general manager or her representative is ready to announce corresponding staff liaison assignments. You agree with that? So just for convenience, I did make a couple of slides so that you can see the current assignments for 2022. There we go. So we have standing board committees of the Administration and Budget Committee and the Use and Management Committee. And there listed are the current board members on those committees. In addition, we have one ad hoc board committee that's currently active. And it's the Ad hoc Committee for Measure Q Urban Grant Program Guidelines Review. And you'll see the 3 board members that have been currently assigned to that committee. And then we have the Citizens Advisory and the Expenditure Plan Oversight Committee. Before moving on to non-authority liaison position. So if you'd like to start there, or would you like me to continue?
What is the pleasure of the board? I know I had one board member contact me with preferences. Is there anybody else that has a burning preference?
Yeah, I haven't been on the use and management for a couple of decades. Which with Director Alexander's new lofty position requires she's on the admin and budget. And is that the Madam Chair's pleasure?
That is fine with Madam Chair. That is fine with Director Alexander?
Sure.
Okay. We can do this. We can do this very congenial, yeah, right? There's somebody again that's got a burning desire to be on there. So and right now, yeah, so ABC would be myself. I'm just gonna go in order, so we'll start with ABC would be myself and then to Alexander and then Director Gill, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, good, all right, so use of management, Director Kennett would like to be on there, and then we have Director Potter, and so you're switching off, okay, so Potter, and Kennett. That's good.
And through the chair,
Mhm.
would you care to designate a chair for that committee? Typically, the chair of the board is the chair of the ABC committee, but for use and management.
I would to Director.
Admin and budget, you'll be the chair.
Yes, correct. Yes, that would be me and my ABC is myself. So use and management, that would be, I'll let you guys twist your, our fighter. You don't care. Who wants to be chair?
We just listened to Derek, in that meeting.
Come on, guys.
Update.
Who wants to be chair? All right, I'll just pick somebody.
I don't know, it's a good job.
Happy to keep doing it if that's pleasure of the chair.
Okay, all right. If you're willing to do it, Director Potter, you can be chair.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
all right. Okay, so we've got that one set. The next one is CAC, which was myself, and I believe the recommendation is for Director Annabelle. Would you like to serve as liaison to the CAC? Yes. Okay, we are such an amiable group. Okay, well, that takes care of that one. Measure Q.
Through the chair,
Yes, yes. Thank you, clerk.
are we keeping the ad hoc committee set
The ad hoc.
for Measure Q Urban Grant Program Guidelines Review?
That, right, that is myself and Director Flaher, and then we're looking for a third person, correct?
At your
Yes,
pleasure.
yes, so is there a board member that would like to serve on that? What? Okay, I think that your expertise would be great, Director Animal.
And then, thank you. And if you'd like to assign a alternate for the CAC in the event that you're not able to make it.
Just put me on.
Okay, Director Gill would like to be alternate for Director Animal
Thank you.
for CAC.
Yes.
And then, expenditure plan oversight committee.
No board members.
We don't need anybody on that one. Okay, so that takes care of this list. Phew. Yeah.
Thank you, through the chair. Now, I'd like to remind you that annually the chair asks or assigns representatives to Open Space Authority of the Open Space Authority to participate as liaisons to non-open space authority bodies. And then the general manager typically makes this staff assignments that correspond. So you see a list of the non-OSA agencies that we typically have a representation on and the current assignments.
So Director Flogger, I know you're very well connected with the Bay Area Ridge Trail, and I believe you still want to stay on that. Okay. And Director Gill, do you want to stay on as alternate or would?
Yeah, I follow.
Is that a yes?
Yeah.
That's a yes. Okay, all right. So we'll keep that the same unless there's any other director that would like to be. I don't see anybody jumping up and down. Okay. County Parks Commission is vacant because I believe that was Director Moore that held that position, right? And we haven't filled it in a while. So, Director Alexander, would you like to step up?
If somebody else wants it, it's right for I can't, but it's.
Okay. So how the Director Annabelle, you could be the member and then Director Alexander, you'd be alternate?
Sure.
Okay. Good. Special districts, I think. We'll stay in the fun role. It is fun and then Director Pharmacy on this alternate. Okay. All right. Yeah. And then Habitat Agency, we have Director Kennett and Director Potter.
Yes.
Is that okay? All right. And then we have the San Francisco Planning and Urban Spur. Which is Director Potter and Director Gill.
Yeah.
Okay. Director Alexander, jump in anytime if there's something, yeah, no, okay. Valley Water Commission, now that's what I do, and we should have an update today because Director Flogger attended the meeting, so he wants to stay on the Water Commission. I'm alternate, but if there's somebody else that would like to be alternate,
Mine now.
you'd like to be alternate, okay. Okay. That's fine with me. And then LAFCO, that one is I am the alternate on that one. That can't, yeah, we can't change that one. Yeah. Farm Bureau, so we have Director Kennett and Director Flogger.
Okay, sitting there.
Okay.
Someone else.
If you like it, stay there.
If you're happy.
If not, then I can take that. If you are happy, that's fine. Yeah.
Everybody's so happy tonight. Please, Kelly set us in such a great mood. Nobody's fighting over any position.
That's why I love it.
And Salt Ponds Restoration Forum, and I think that I can't see with the words over there. I don't know who is speaking. It's got screen sharing. You know, there's, well,
It's
vacant. Oh, vacant.
I'm sorry, through the chair,
Yes,
could you repeat, are we keeping the Farm Bureau?
Farm Bureau is staying the same.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, they're thrilled to take that. Yes. Yes. And Salt Pond Restoration, so we have vacant, and I heard Director Annabelle say yes, and then maybe Director Alexander would like to be the alternate. Sure. Take out that one, Director Gillis, and just take it some others. Okay, okay. All right. Yes, okay, and
So,
Director Flogger.
In the distant past, channeling some Jim Ferrand to this, is who is on as a representative from here? Day trip. And I wonder if the agency is interested in renewing that linkage or it's not want to do discussion.
To reestablish a liaison to the Bay Trail.
Yeah, and so is that an agency level that we would want to say we want to do that or not, and then say who might want to represent. So it's first we got to establish who we want to do that.
I see staff nodding and looking.
Yeah, they're
Would you like
The chair, our geography is fairly limited as per the Bay Trail. It's mostly the Alviso area. And we usually get brought into discussions if it affects us through either City of San Jose or State Coastal Conservancy or something like that. So I think we probably don't need an appointment to that.
Would it be something if like an ad hoc if necessary, if there's something that came up?
Yeah, if something comes up, we can let the board know.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, we can make a note that Director Flogger is interested if something does come up and.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's your district and.
yeah, that's fine.
And Madam Chair, staff would like to just quickly go through the staff liaisons for both the committees and then also the outside assignments. So we could, which do you want to take first?
Because I think we're all hunky-dory with all of it. Everybody okay with your assignments, right? Okay, see, now you guys can fight over yours now.
All right, good evening, directors, Lee Rauscher, Assistant General Manager. Staff assignments for the ABC will remain the same. That will be Andrea, myself, Elizabeth, and Justina. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm quite in the mic. And but the Use and Management Committee will be Aaron Aber, Derek Newman, and Lucas Shellhammer this year. We will not change assignments on any of the other subcommittees. So those are the only changes. So scrolling down to the different non-OSA bodies, if you will. Bay Area Ridge Trail. Jennifer, whose name is completely escaping me, her last name. Sorry. Thank you very much. The simple name. Jennifer Hooper and Lucas Shellhammer will be the alternate. We're going to make a change on the Santa Clara County, California Special Districts Association. Congratulations, Caroline Hernandez. You will be part of this role along with Lena as an alternate. Another change, the Habitat Agency, Matt Freeman will be primary and Aaron Aber will be the alternate. And the Santa Clara Valley Water Commission, Matt Freeman primary and Aaron Aber alternate. We also had two, I think, new bodies this year. We wondered if the board would consider making assignments to. One is the Santa Clara County Sustainability Commission, and the other is Valley Waters Agricultural Advisory Committee.
Want to repeat this again?
Be happy to. The first was Santa Clara County Sustainability Commission,
Okay,
and the second is Valley Water Agricultural Advisory Committee.
Were we invited to be a part of that? This organization, or are we gonna ask to join it? We know.
These actual meetings.
We were asked to join the Santa Clara County Sustainability Commission, and we've had Lena Ian principally attending that with Mark as the alternate. So that will mostly be a staff-driven commission. Mostly to do with the climate action plan for the county. And the Valley Agricultural Advisory Committee. Director Flogger, have you attended that from time to time when that's come up? I think that maybe has been an offshoot.
I attended the last meeting of that.
Yeah.
That's what made me ask the question, because it is I think it would be a very ideal place for us to have someone that was able to attend and participate on behalf of the authority. But it is, these are Alex's constituents. all of them. So it's very much a Farm Bureau flavored group with a couple Valley Water directors. And their conversation is looking for an entity that can sustain agriculture, a governmental agency that will help foster agriculture in our region. So, and they were lamenting the lack of one. So I think be careful what they should wish for, but I based on my day job, I can't be that appointee, but I think we would be well placed to have somebody there. I think they meet once a quarter.
Okay, so for the Valley Water Agricultural Advisory Committee, that would be Director Kenneth. And then we still need an alternate,
Yeah. What we do.
okay? And Director Gill, alternate.
We have a farmer on our board.
Okay,
Bye.
and then the Sustainability Commission, how often do they meet? No? Don't know?
I want to say every 2 months. Mark, do you remember how often Lena's going to that? Okay, good. I don't think that's gonna be very often for the board.
Okay, I mean, I'm happy to serve.
Okay.
There's not alternate to the Water Commission, so I can do that, and then maybe Director Alexander. Or vice versa, doesn't matter. That's strong. That's strong. Okay, you can do it. I'll be alternate. Okay. And I think it sounds like, I digress a little bit, but City of San Jose, I think is also looking to form a climate commission, so. But I don't believe it's good, I think they were looking more for staff. Expertise, so. Anyway, to be announced. Okay, so I think, does that get us through all the assignments with the staffing and everybody else? That, right, do we need an official motion to approve this?
I don't believe we do.
Nope. Okay, all right, well, let's formalize it. All right, so let's have a motion to approve the 2023 Board of Staff Committee and Liaison assignments.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve and second. Director Kenneth, Director Flaher, so we do roll call when you're ready. Yeah.
Who moved in the second?
Flaher moved. Scale second. No.
Director Kenneth,
Yes.
Director Flaher,
Yes.
Director Chapman, Director Annabelle, Director Alexander,
Yes.
Director Potter,
Yes.
Director Gill.
Yes.
All right, thank you all board for being so agreeable and. All right, I understand we do have a member of the public that would like to address the board. We had the public comment earlier in the evening, but we entertain a public comment now before the next item.
Thank you. I thought you'd be in closed session, so that's why I came down a bit late. Great. So I'm Ted Stroll. I'm one of your, oh, sorry. Can you, everybody, should I speak into this or?
Yeah.
Okay,
Just 1 moment so she can start the timer.
sure. So I'm Ted Stroll. It's nice to see some familiar faces here. I'm one of your veteran volunteer patrollers. I'm here because I applied for the Citizens Advisory Committee, and as you all know, the board voted for somebody else, which is, of course, entirely your prerogative. But I was concerned about it because of the fact that there was no public debate. And when I appeared before the nominating committee, people seemed, the three directors seemed very enthusiastic. And then when it finally came up for a vote before the full board, with no public discussion whatsoever, you picked another gentleman. And so that made me wonder, because it seemed odd that there should be such a sudden reversal with no discussion. So as you know, I filed a Public Records Act request, and what I discovered in there is that Director Chapman said that she was worried about the fact that I was running against Ash Kalra for this California State Assembly, and it made her, I believe, quote, question my motives. And I did further research, discovered that Ms. Chapman has been endorsed in the past by Ash Kalra. And the same is true of Director Potter, who was the person who made the motion to postpone the nomination so that you all could find somebody else rather than me. And prominently on Mr. Potter's website is his campaign website is also an endorsement by Ash Kalra. So I'm just wondering why those two particular directors didn't recuse themselves given this awkward situation. And with Director Chapman, I'd be happy to answer your question about, I mean, you're suspicious of my motives, so perhaps I can elaborate on them a little bit.
Yeah, 3 minutes, buddy.
Okay, how much time do I have left? 1:15. So, you know, I've devoted thousands of hours of volunteer work as a trail patroller. I've done all sorts of tasks for the Open Space Authority. I supported Measure Q. I have donated equipment. I feel like I've been, you know, integral to the trail operations for many years. And I don't have any ulterior motives. I mean, it's I applied for this job because I would like to help the authority, which I think is a well-run land manager and really one of the best agencies, parks and recreation agencies in the Bay Area. And there are no, you know, I just wanted to use my expertise, particularly with the trail networks and the way things actually are out on the ground, to lend my expertise to the agency. Am I almost out of time? 15 seconds. All right, so unless anybody has any questions, that's my presentation. And I regret the fact that there appeared to be a conflict of interest with a couple of the directors. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Sure.
The next item is an informational item, jurisdictional overlap with the Open Space Authority Board districts, and then Mark. There you are.
Good evening, directors. I have the pleasure tonight of presenting to you some information that I hope you find useful regarding jurisdictional overlaps. So overlaps between each of your respective board districts and the districts of other elected officials, where, you know, there's some mapping that has to be done to determine exactly what those overlaps are. So I have a brief presentation, just starting with a little bit of information. Is it not going? There we go. Thank you. So the reason that we're doing this now, of course, is because of the redistricting process that took place for the Open Space Authority early in 2022. Around that time, also, of course, for other elected offices, and then recent elections in November that identified individuals with whom your districts overlap. In fact, there's an appointment happening tonight. That's the one blank in the entire chart of information that I'll be presenting. San Jose District 10 appointment is being decided tonight. There was a recent appointment that took place on Tuesday night that I do have in the table, the updated table, not the one in your packet. So of course, this information hopefully would be useful as you are either considering meetings with elected leaders and their staff, or as we as staff invite you to join us, which will be happening especially here in the springtime as we meet with elected leaders at the local, state, and federal levels. Also to help with connections with the authority constituents, and for us internally as staff, it's also very important that we are able to identify those overlapping districts when we're seeking grants for funds to assist with implementing the authority's mission. So it's information that we can use as well. So our GIS specialist, Anna McGarrigle, who was only hired several months ago, but has already been doing amazing work. She put together a map that we used internally to overlay each of the redistricted board districts that you see here with the city limits within our jurisdiction, and then with each of the jurisdictions stated in the board report, all the way from City of San Jose to Valley Water Board, county supervisorial districts, state assembly and senate, and congressional districts. I'm noting here that there are, of course, other elected leaders that are not shown on the chart. To keep the information brief, we put in the chart those districts that there could be some question, you know, if you didn't have the map in front of you, which elected leaders you were overlapping with. So for instance, City of Milpitas has a number of elected leaders, and we didn't map that here because they're not divided into different districts, and the City of Milpitas, of course, is covered in District 2. So anyway, so that's the reason for exactly the information that's presented in the chart. So here's an example of how your board districts overlap with California Assembly districts. You can see in the purple outlines the Assembly district, and then we used the analytical tools in the GIS system to determine how much overlap there is with each of those districts. So I don't have all of these maps up here. This is just shown as an example. This is a revised version of the chart that was in your board packet. I did add in here the Tuesday appointment of Domingo Candelas to District 8 of San Jose City Council. And then the District 10 appointment that's happening tonight is still not shown here. But what I did want to show is, because it's a little bit difficult to see all of this, I do have them blown up a little bit here for this presentation, and this presentation will be posted on the website, so you have it to your avail, a little bit easier to read. So this shows for districts 1 and 2, those elected leaders that are overlapping. Districts 3 and 4. I'm hoping that you're memorizing these as I'm showing the slides. And then districts 5, 6, and 7. So those are all of the overlapping jurisdictions that we mapped and identified percentages of. And those percentages are the percentage of an open space authority board district that overlapped with that other individual's jurisdiction, not the other way around. So for instance, here in the upper, well, the second from the top row on the left side, Open Space Authority District 5, 51% of District 5 overlaps with San Jose District 9 with Pam Foley. So that's how to read that. And so with that, that's the information that I wanted to present. And so I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Open up for the board. Any questions?
No question, thanks. It's something I've been asking for a while, and you've done a great job. I found that in order to do my job properly, I really make a point to reach out to those people who maybe I can help, it certainly can help me do the job better. And it's important that they know who we are. It's, there's, without naming names, some of these people have been elected in county, city level, just have no idea. It's not a leader, it's something else. So if nothing else, let them know who we are and what we do. Make your job a lot easier. Thank you.
Director Flower.
Yes, thank you. If you could give me a list of Milpitas, that would be okay. It doesn't have to be in a chart.
Absolutely, happy to do that.
Reason being is, 4 years ago, I reached out to them for interest. And Andrea offered to sit down with their Parks and Recs and see whether there could be joint activity. And I'd like to try again, and as that didn't go anywhere. But I'm going to keep reaching out to parts of my district and see if we can find common ground.
Great.
I would just like to add to that, that Carmen Montana, who just got elected mayor, was on our initial citizens advisory. And congratulations to her.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you, Mark. I know I've already started. I've already reached out to District 4, David Cohen's office, and he said we have some overlapping, and he's like, yeah, happy to sit down. So we're going to schedule a meeting to do that, to go over, because he's anxious to know kind of what we're doing this year, and it maps up with some of his. He didn't realize he had so much of my district in there. So I think this is a great idea that, this mapping that you did is, and I encourage all the board to, to reach out to the electeds and get to know them and find out what their priorities are versus what our priorities are. And I'm sure there's a lot of overlapping concern,
Yeah, thank you for that, Madam Chair, and just wanted to offer any staff support. Happy to provide support if that's needed for any of those meetings.
Excellent.
And as I mentioned, we'll be, as we set up meetings as staff with staff of those other elected leader offices, we will be inviting each of you respectively as we go through that.
Any other questions from the board? Any public comment on this item?
We do have a hand raised.
Okay.
Nancy DeMatte.
Hi, I've had my hand up. Sorry to interrupt this session, but it was for the previous presenter, Ted Stroll. Is it too late to make my comment? Can I comment?
This is commenting on the public comment that we already received. I don't believe so.
No, there was no public comment offered. So I just have a comment regarding Ted Stroll. And I've known Ted Stroll for many years, and as his trail advocacy work, and for all the hours he has spent, I run into him often on the trails. He is a highly qualified and a diligent candidate, and that's all I had to say. I'm sorry that it's not with the subject matter as present, but it was for Ted Stroll previously. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your public comment.
There are no others.
No others. Okay, so no public comment on this particular item, and no other questions? And this is information item, so there's no action taken. Okay.
That's correct.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. This is very helpful. All right, so now we will go to committee meeting summaries. And the first being the Citizens Advisory Committee, which was myself. I attended the Citizens Advisory Committee on Monday. So they went through their reorg. In my notes in front of me, I wanted to say that the chair, Lauren, thank you. Lauren was elected chair, and the vice chair, Steve,
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields, thank you. Justin Fields was elected vice chair. So they did their reorg. And had a very excellent presentation by Mark on the overview of what's going on in Coyote Valley, which actually it's great to get the timeline of all where we are in the process on that and the CD camp as well. So thank you. We didn't have any other committee meetings, so now we'll go to information reports for general manager.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a few items and then I'll pass it over to Matt Freeman. First, I'd really like to extend deep thanks to the Public Affairs Department for the terrific job they've done on our year in review, which if you haven't seen it yet, is coming out. Will be on our website. It is also being sent out to our mailing list. Also, the 30th anniversary press release is imminent, so please look out for that. They've also been doing a great job sharing with the public stunning images of the atmospheric rivers and the rains that we've been receiving and showing how that's affecting areas like Coyote Valley. And driving home the importance of that landscape to water resources and flood risk reduction. I'd also like to extend my thanks to the field staff. Those open space technicians were out in the rainstorms and after, really ensuring the safety of the public and our preserves. And we are monitoring the federal aid situation. I know we all heard that the Biden administration, when they visited the area last week, had not at the time planned to extend aid to Santa Clara County, but we're going to monitor that and be ready to submit a request if that is possible. Last week, we held a very productive 2023 planning session with our new chair, Helen Chapman, and our vice chair, Vicki Alexander, to discuss board engagement and events for the Open Space Authority's 30th anniversary. And staff, and I think our leadership on the board have decided that this is a really good thing to do every year moving forward. Just let you know, we are leading a bus tour of the Coyote Valley for the entire SPUR organization next Monday. So we'll be planning that tomorrow. I think that the head count right now is 45. Is that right, Mark?
I had heard 39.
39.
Yeah, pretty much the entire organization.
Okay, so entire organization coming down from San Francisco to tour Coyote Valley. And as the board probably well knows, SPUR has been a very helpful organization to supporting our efforts in Coyote Valley. The leadership team is very busy working on the 2023 and 2024 work plan and budget. And we are planning a special workshop with the board currently scheduled for March 30th. That should be on your calendar, but we'll be checking in with you as the date gets closer. And then staff is also planning a joint board CAC meeting on March 9th. So we try to have a joint board CAC meeting once a year, which is a really wonderful time to bring both bodies together and have some discussion about priorities for the Open Space Authority. So that meeting will start with a regular board meeting. It'll be an abbreviated one for probably no more than an hour. And then we'll shift over to the joint meeting right after that. Currently, we have scheduled two educational kind of informational presentations for that joint meeting. One by the executive director of the Santa Cruz Mountain Stewardship Network. So we'll be talking about regional stewardship. And the other looks to be Edmund Sullivan, the executive officer of the Habitat Agency, will also be addressing the joint board CAC. And Matt, I'll turn it over to you.
Andrea. Good evening, directors. Earlier this week, staff released an initial study mitigated negative declaration for the Yagas Creek Bridge and Days area at Rancho. This is a really important milestone in the planning process. Folks have 30 days to comment on the project and our measures to ensure that it's protective of the environment. And assuming all goes well, we're on track to begin construction late summer for that really important public access project. Nick Perry, our CD Camp project manager, has asked me to share a please save the date. Earth Day, April 22nd, Saturday, will be a community event and one of the first exciting public opportunities to engage in the senior camp planning process. I believe that'll take place at Sprinkles Hill. A lot more information to come, but please do save the date. Really, another really exciting milestone in that planning process. Saturday, April 22nd, Earth Day. And I'll hopefully not jinxing things, but I'll share that our acquisition and grants teams have been incredibly busy lately. A couple of weeks ago, they hosted a tour of senior leadership with the Wildlife Conservation Board, seeking grant funding upwards of 17 million to support transfer of properties in Coyote Valley from Post to the Open Space Authority. That project was incredibly well received by staff, and so we're optimistic that some large amount will come from the Wildlife Conservation Board to support those property transfers. And that's my report for this evening. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Any
very
other
much.
staff? Mark? You- Traveling light.
Oh, no, we're going. I thought it was Christmas, but no, we're good. So, good evening again, directors. As you know, we follow state funding and policy opportunities very closely, and you may also be aware that the state's anticipating a deficit of somewhere between 22 and 24 billion this year. And so the governor in his January budget proposal included cuts to prior commitments, not allocations specifically, but commitments to resources agencies, especially in the area of nature-based solutions. And so we are going to be expressing the importance of nature-based solutions in providing climate resilience to communities to in an attempt to try to counteract some of that. And then also want to let you know that because in a deficit year, there are these gaps in funding because there's just programs that have to get cut, that the legislature is having preliminary discussions about a resources bond measure. And so it's not clear yet from what we've learned whether that's going to be focused on water resources or on climate or on some other aspect of resources or just funding gaps in general. But there is a good chance that will be very resource specific, and we're working with the leadership in the Assembly and in the Senate through our consultants in Sacramento to bring in the types of programs that are of greatest importance to the Open Space Authority.
Okay. Aaron?
Aaron Hebert, Natural Resources Manager. I wanted to let the board know that your Humboldt Natural Resources staff is taking good advantage of this very wet year to look at how our creeks, rivers, ponds, and wetlands are performing. It's unusual opportunity to gather data as we start designing some of the large scale restoration work we've been contemplating in the North Coyote Valley in particular.
Thanks, Aaron. I think that's it, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you all. Appreciate that. Legal counsel, any report? Okay. All right, board member reports, and we'll go this direction. So Director Kennett.
No report other than advise you to keep your water weeks.
Director Flaher.
Thank you. Yes, I attended the Water Commission meeting yesterday. It was mostly about first flood control, and homeless encampments and things like that. They just did a quick summary that they had a meeting previously on that subject specifically. And having experienced that near my house, I think it's very important that we understand this. So the other thing, the bulk of the meeting was about their yearly setting water rates that we all pay. And so this is very preliminary. So they start from somewhere, and then as the meeting come around and more data comes in, they go through a process. Next big checkpoint is in April, when they have another meeting with our commission and the board, and that would be firming up those rates. So right now we're looking at for the area of North Valley, the cities heavily densified areas where the water rates are already higher than the other areas. 15% increase from now for the wholesale water price. Depending on who the water retailer is, you will get an additive price. And for San Jose Water, it's usually wholesale 15%, retail 15%, or 30%. So the nice thing about that was ag water is changed. They're still 10% the going rate, particular zone you're in. There were some questions about why is South County zones cheaper, the zone compared to zone 2, which is north, and it's less complexity management systems for that much urban compared to non-urban areas, but simpler with other resources. So that was the main part of the meeting. There were a few questions. We did vote for a new chair and vice chair, and Foley came off. I'll get you the information of all who came on, who's there. Don Rocha was there, Melanie Richardson was there, and others, staff. And then there were 4 new members from municipalities, and I had no idea what we did. But we tried to get them there. So Wayne was particularly interested in finding everything she could find out about everything about water. So that's basically what the meeting was. Next meeting is
Director Anwell.
I attended mid-Penn meeting, public meeting on their wildlife corridor that they're planning on 17. And it's definitely underground, expected to be about 12 feet wide. They are going to have another meeting. I apologize for my phone ringing. I was trying to find the date of it. But if you have input regarding, they're going to be selecting for the pedestrian multi-use overcrossing, either a northern site on 17 or a southern site. So they're looking for feedback from community as to which one of those they think would serve best. And the difference seems to primarily be how easily it will be to connect to their open space parcels that are there. Which are El Sereno and then Bear Creek. If anybody has input, it's the time to yeah. And then the Bay Area Ridge Trail had a table there, and they haven't had any South County community meetings for some time, and they're hoping their new staff members, South County, will contact. And they hope to be in the coming months calling the public back together and get back to it. So participation is going to be important given our goals.
I went to kind of a cool event. I thought it was put on by the Silicon Valley Bicycle Coalition, and it was in Alviso at the Baylands. We met in Sunnyvale, and then we rode our bikes down to Alviso. And then we had speakers from the Army Corps of Engineer, a biologist, from the director of the South Bay Salt Ponds Restoration Project, and then an engineer from Valley Water. And then afterwards, I went on a great bike ride out into the bay. But I thought it was just an interesting combination. And I think last year they had like 6 or 7 people, and this year they had more like 50 or 60 people. And I think the Bicycle Coalition did a lot of the planning. So I was envisioning them bringing people down to Coyote Valley or something.
Director Potter
No report tonight.
and Director Gill.
No report.
Okay. I'm doing this kind of modeling after Director Kenneth that told a story a couple of weeks ago because I got to see my in-laws because of COVID. We hadn't seen them in 3 years. So we finally got a chance to go up to see them. And my mother-in-law shared a story, and I'm happy to pass around this article that she used to pick milkweed or silk for the parachutes back from the war. So she shared an article with me about how they used to collect milkweed. And I thought, well, this is kind of pertinent because, we just got this grant from Google and we're replanting milkweed. And so I didn't know about this. So I just thought I would share that. It was kind of a funny story how, what she used to do back in the day is now colliding with our world currently, right? So, and then the other report, which you're probably all waiting for because my phone was going off and you probably saw me doing this. We do have a new District 10 council member. And I'm going to butcher the name, Arjun Batra is a new District 10 council member. Yes, you're all doing what I do. Whoa. So with that, I think that's the updates. So if there's any other business, I guess we will then adjourn the meeting.